What's up? We're back with a new episode. This time we're reviewing the premiere episode one of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Um, Nick, let's get right into it. What were your initial thoughts on the episode?
It well, one, this is the longest Disney Plus episode I've ever seen. That was a solid 40-ish minutes, which is wasn't expecting that. And I don't know, it was pretty it didn't go the way I thought it would go. There was a lot of just unexpected just not like events, just directions they decided to take with the characters and like how they set the story up. It reminds me I feel like they're plotting all their Disney Plus shows the same, where the first episode is like 5% of like setting up an overall arc and just like 95% of just like getting you into the groove of like this particular side of whatever universe. WandaVision episode one, like didn't really nothing really happened. It was just letting you get into it. And same with Mandalorian, just showing you what was up. So follow a similar format, but yeah, just didn't go the way I expected, which I'll give it props for.
What I'll say is it's interesting and the action sequences are really great, but I think at times it suffers from being the kind of uneven pacing, and frankly, there are just some scenes that I find are just not interesting. That like what they're trying to accomplish is important and cool and like a whole different side of
Yeah.
superheroes.
Mhm.
But for me at least, it didn't necessarily land that way.
Yeah,
But
I will say like there were like at a certain point, like in the second half, I was like, I don't know what's like supposed to be happening. And like it's not to say
yeah,
like I wasn't paying attention. I was like, I know for sure half of the characters are introduced right now, with the exception of like Falcon's sister, will not matter in like a few episodes. So I don't really know where this is, going, or why, maybe we'll be looking back on this like later as we always do. But like right now, it's like, especially during the second half, I was like, I don't know really what's what's supposed to be happening.
yeah, this whole thing. I mean, let's start off with the beginning though, because we get the action scene with Falcon, right? Um, and that was really really cool. Like that was awesome. And we've never seen Falcon do hand to hand combat like that. And he wrecks shop, man. He's nice with it. Um, what were your thoughts on that opening sequence from the whole procedural flying up to the plane, peeking in, all the way to the end?
I like that it was just like a very like layered fight, in the sense of like it felt like like a video game where it's like different progression, different levels. Like I could hear the Mortal Kombat voice going round two when he like switches like formats, and I thought it was just cool that like I thought it was just gonna like end on the plane, but it's like no. Then it became like a chase. Then it became him versus the helicopters. Then it became a chase again, and I was like, pretty innovative use of Falcon and his like tech, because like I don't know, like even like with Vision and WandaVision, it's like relatively straightforward. Like, oh, he can punch, he can shoot an energy beam. But I was like, this is just a guy with wings, but they used it like very creatively, which I really enjoyed. It's just you see his full like, this is the first time we've seen like a full on Falcon fight scene. So no, yeah, definitely was really cool. There's only one shot that like took me out of it. It's that close up of his face when he's like flying. That like took me out for like a quick second, because I was like, this looks strange. But that's like literally the only thing. Everything else, just him ducking and weaving, was just really awesome.
Oh, are you talking about the one that looked like it was shot on a GoPro?
Ish, yeah, like he had like, or like the GoPro was like facing back at him, and it was like really tight up on his face. Yeah, that like one shot, it just took me out for like a second, but everything else was just, yeah, everything that was like the one thing, but everything else was great.
Yeah, man, I love this action sequence, and I think it really sets the tone of what action is going to look like in this series, which I thought was really fun. Whether it's him, you know, shooting Red Wing out and the way Red Wing interacts with him, the way that the wings fold to essentially block bullets and be a shield for him. Um, that whole part is really really epic.
It's just a
And
creative use of like, essentially he's a guy with just like a jetpack and wings, but like they just creatively like executed it.
Yeah, and him flying through the canyons while ducking, missiles and redirecting them back at other helicopters, all that sort of stuff is really great. And the final part where it's George St. Pierre is in the plane with the hostage from the military, and he essentially it's the first time where they're like, oh, just keep on going, and then the camera just pans, and Falcon's just like sitting there listening to them. He's like, hey guys, and then just starts punching his way out. Like that's the classic superhero stuff that we love to see. But let's move on to what comes next, and that's um, Rhodey and Falcon having this conversation after Falcon gives up the shield. And we're going to go straight to the end. This is a super spoiler review from this point on. Sorry if we didn't preface it before, it'll be prefaced in the thumbnail and the title. But he gives up the shield, right? And it's really a bummer, right? And he gives it up for the right reasons. It makes sense. It doesn't belong to him. He feels like it was Steve's and only Steve's. Um, and then, Rhodey's asking like, why not? And he's like, it's a complicated history behind that shield. And they kind of allude to what's going on in the world and dealing with issues of race and carrying the American flag on essentially, well, it's not the flag, but it's a symbol of America essentially on the shield. um, and then we cut to later on at the very end, and we have US agent with the shield that Falcon specifically gave for it to be put in a museum, not for it to be used again, right? And it shows the shadiness of the government, which is, if no one is aware of that in real life as a thing, well, I mean, it's not just in the movies that they manipulate people like that. And when his sister tells him to look at this and he's pissed, I'm like, yo, F these people. Like who do you think you are? You have a superhero who is part of the Avengers, and you're like, you know what? Let's choose someone else. I was like, what?
I I've said this in like one of the trailer reviews we did for this, but like they've kept US agent like vacant. They've really kept him a secret, which has made me like there's something like really like there's a ball to drop with this character. So I'm like really like intrigued. Even in this episode, they don't show his face till the last possible second. So I'm like, this is more than just, oh, they threw in another guy in there. There's like, I don't know. I'm just really intrigued to see what happens with him. Because again, like they've kept him like low presence in the marketing. So I'm just really intrigued to see that character in particular.
Yeah, and then we see Falcon go home, right? And this is right after the War Machine conversation.
Yeah.
Falcon goes home to his family, and they're talking, and this is the scene that didn't really work for me. And the scenes that don't really work for me, to be honest, in this episode. Which is, I like the idea of the scene. I like being introduced to his family. It feels like it's too long and takes too long to get to the point.
It I don't know. It just feels like it was very like abruptly introduced because I don't, at least I don't remember him making any reference to family prior. So like it was really abruptly introduced, and like I don't know it like honestly I didn't like the scene in the bank. Like I thought the guy who was like fanboying, I thought like that was kind of overdone, and I was just like I kind of understand what you're trying to do here. It just seems a little like I don't know like I don't know, just for right now, I thought it was in particular for this first episode, I thought it was a strange place to go. I feel like it could have worked better if like he goes to his sister after seeing the shield given up, as like he needs someone to talk to, and like I would have much preferred if it was just him and like Rhodey, or just like him on his own, like processing like Endgame still. But I don't know, yeah, it just felt like there was like, and then I also like, just to jump to Bucky, I wasn't totally vibing with his, like I get what they were doing with it, but I wasn't totally on board either. And given that those both were like the majority of the episode, I was kind of like, again, I was like, I'm not really sure what's happening.
Yeah, I didn't vibe with the Bucky therapy session that much. Not like it's another thing that in concept I'm like, oh, that's really cool, but in execution, it's more played off for jokes than it is for
Yeah, I
anything
didn't.
else.
Yeah, I didn't like. I mean, some of the banter between him and the therapist was nice, but like that scene when he's like, he like tells the corrupt senator, he's like, "You're on my list of amends," but like it plays off, yeah, like as a like MCU joke, and I was like, I don't really vibe with that. I feel like it should have been. I don't know. I would have preferred him not to say anything or at all, or just like I don't know, have taken it a little more seriously. It just felt like I don't know. It just felt like off, and then afterwards with like the whole like date scene. I don't know how long that will like be like a thing. Like I don't know. It's just like you said, I like the idea, I like the concept. I just didn't really vibe with how it was done.
Yeah, I really like the flashback where he wakes up in the nightmare and it's him
Hmm.
killing that kid, and then that's connected to this guy that he's always been talking to and kind of helping not be lonely, right? That
Right.
that guilt, I find that stuff really intriguing. The stuff that
Hmm.
every time he looks at him, he remembers his past that's haunting him, but he feels this responsibility to the father
Yeah.
to be kind to him and make amends. Like that stuff, I think that stuff's really cool. Where like some of the Falcon stuff doesn't necessarily work in this episode, and I think some of this Sebastian Stan Winter Soldier stuff doesn't either. Like the date scene's like okay, and it's interesting in concept where he goes to see the father because this guilt is haunting him. Um, but like I wish I saw him more fish out of water, like him going to a club or something with her. You know what I mean? Like I want to see him really trying to assimilate into
Yeah.
life in the 2000s when he was born in the 1900s, like the
Yeah.
1920s.
I feel with both of these stories and these characters, I think it was a chance for a lot of like show don't tell. Like we could have seen just had a montage of like him like wandering the streets, or like he wakes up at night and just yeah like wandering the streets like it's like 2 in the morning because he just like restless. Then like with Falcon, it could have been like another like just I think it could have been just a lot more showing, not telling. Like I think one of the big moments from I don't want to like keep comparing the between the shows. Like I just to make a point, but like excuse me, like with WandaVision, like when that guy's choking in the first episode, there's a lot said in that moment that's not verbally said. And I don't know, like it could have like, and it didn't have to be like overly long. It just had, I think it could have been done with like a little, like just to condense it a little.
And like you could have had a humor about in that therapy scene about him assimilating to life and be like, so you've been going on dates, right? And then it's just like a montage of him going on really bad speed dates. You know what I mean? And him talking about like the 27 Yankees or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like, we got a preview of this in the trailer, like Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that sort of stuff. Like that's the stuff that's showing a man at a time, right? That's what's interesting about Captain America. And I mean, Bucky should be struggling with that same thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's it's one way to set up like the pieces for the board. I think, yeah, like it didn't entirely vibe with it. But I see the direction they're going in. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's like I said, this was like a lot about just getting into the groove of the world. I feel like they didn't necessarily have to do as much as they did because these characters aren't in the most drastic shift in comparison to like Wanda and Vision were. So like they could have afforded to be like focused on like like some of the like greater ramifications of like now they're on their own type thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it was also interesting that Sam had been calling Bucky, and Bucky's
Yeah,
not answering. And she's like, "You realize you have no friends, right?"
yeah.
Um,
I um I would have loved if like I don't know, like Bucky like did try to reach out at the end. Like it just got that like bad. Um like I don't know. Like it just felt like there was like a weird cut with the end. Like I was like, oh, cliffhanger. But then for at least for Bucky, it felt like a weird spot to leave him in.
yeah, I don't know. It's like the concept for this episode is there and it's right. It's just I felt like in execution it fell a little short on a personal character level, which stinks for me because I really like Falcon going into the series and I really like Bucky going into the series. But I think they can fix that. I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. I think once they start getting into the action and the relationship between those two clashing, I think that's where the show's going to thrive. But let's talk about the villain group that's kind of shown.
Mm.
Uh, so we get these individuals who seem to be enhanced, right? Like I don't know what it is. Mutants question mark. I don't really think they're mutants, but they kick harder than a normal person. A normal person doesn't punch or kick you when you go 15 to 20 feet. So something's up with that. Do you remember what the organization was called for one? And
Oh, um, they were the LAF and then the Flag Smashers.
yeah,
LAF was the first was the one in the beginning, and the Flag Smashers are the enhanced.
and how do you think these enhanced people are going to play into the series?
I feel like this is gonna be a damn. What's a good like comparison? It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's like they're gonna be like US. I feel like US agents are gonna be like the bigger big bad, but like the Flag Smashers are gonna be there to like provoke Falcon and Winter Soldier to like fight US agent. It's gonna be more of like a they're like the goal right now, but they're not the end goal. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
That's not to say they couldn't be interesting or like have like big effects. I just feel like the way it seems to be selling it right now is like they are like they're gonna be positioned as first tier villains, then drop to second tier as a US agent. Like I could see him start becoming like breaking laws and crap to like go take them down. And Falcon Winter Soldier, they go, no, we can't do that. And it results in like a fight between the three. I think that seems. I feel like that's a direction they might go with this. Um, Beyond that, I don't know. I mean, again, like they seem to be just purely physical right now. Granted, we don't know much about them beyond that. Um, but at least we know that like at the very least they'll be able to give a proper action sequence, proper
yeah.
fight to the heroes.
Yeah, man, there's still a perspective I want on those 5 years of like what happened on the raft when half the people disappeared. You know what I mean? Did like all of these super bad guys, did they get out of the raft or are they on the loose? Like that's the sort of stuff that I also want answered in the series. But I really do think you make a really great point that that's probably it. That the Flag Smashers are meant to be like the inciting incident. They're the villains that bring Bucky and Sam together, but they're not the end goal. I'm going to say this in every series from now on. I'm curious if anyone's a scroll. Always on. I'm always on the lookout. I was wrong last time. We'll see if I can be wrong
I
twice.
think
I'll figure out my scroll
I
contender.
think it's yeah, I think it's less likely this time around. Watch me be like drastically wrong and like everyone said. Just the nature of Secret Invasion, I guess. But I think unlike WandaVision, like there are a lot more cards like present on the table this time around. I don't think they're like have the similar need to like try and cover everything as much as they can.
Yeah.
So it'll be it, it'll be interesting to see. I know the leader of the Flag Smashers. I just checked it today. She was in Solo. I think she was
Memphis
the
Nest.
yeah, there you go. I was trying to remember. I was like the girl with the mask. I couldn't remember the character. But yes, I'm excited to see her. Just because like again, there's like a lot of different dynamics happening. So we always love potential new factor into the game.
Yeah, and I mean, we have I can't remember the guy's name, who's the third major character in the Falcon Winter Soldier. Um, he's the one who, if you guys remember in the episode, he gets kicked in the face by the Flag Smasher when he pulls a gun on them.
Yeah.
And he's with Falcon at the beginning.
The Air Force.
I think he's going to become a major player in the series going forward, or someone who might become like a candidate for the Young Avengers type thing.
I understand. He could become some sort of like, yeah, for sure. They definitely set up that like relationship between the two. I could see him definitely becoming some sort of like either like a sidekick or like a point of contact within the government in a way, like how Batman has Commissioner Gordon and whatnot. Um, yeah, definitely, I think interesting to see. He was a character like who I thought they introduced pretty well. Like not like wasn't a lot of focus, but it was just there in the right amount.
Yeah, and I liked him in every scene he was in. I have one thing. When Falcon's on the phone with him at the end of the episode, showing him the Flag Smashers, and he says, "Don't tell anyone about this." Like, do you see what I'm seeing? What are they exactly talking about?
My first thought went to that someone like either one like found like remnants of the other Winter Soldiers, like extracted that or whatever, like like the people from Civil War, or it's like they replicated the Cap serum. That what I think would be, because this is the other thought I had. Literally, like into this review was like, U.S. agent, is he just a normal guy they threw in the suit, or did they juice him up or something? Because like one of the big things has been like there's only been one successful super soldier in the MCU, and that was Cap. They failed. They tried to do it again with Bruce Banner, but obviously that failed in a way. So like I feel like it's gonna be some major reveal where it's like actually no, we've had the serum like down pat for a while. It just these jackasses like got a hold of it and now they're amped up on it. And like U.S. agent getting powers. That's I don't know. I was like I'm trying to think like I was like what else does like Sam know about that we also know about? I think it has to be that just like oh that's Cap's power.
Yeah, I think it's also really interesting because that's how you can bring Daniel Bruhl's character Zemo in. Because Zemo hates anyone who is an enhanced human and wants to kill them. So that gives motivation for him to come in the story. It gives motivation for U.S. Agent because the U.S. government may want to cover up how they made a mistake with that serum, whatever. Maybe it's like a bootleg, weaker version of the Captain America serum, and it somehow got out, and now U.S. agents essentially going to go on a killing spree trying to kill everyone, and then Falcon's going to be like, "You're killing kids, man." Like that's the sort of thing that I could envision happening as the series progresses.
Yeah, it's again like they've held U.S. agent close to their chest for a reason. So like I can only imagine it's going to be some sort of um like bizarro situation to like reference DC like a this is what he would look this is what our hero would look like if he was bent like enough in the wrong direction like this is what this is what he'd look like. So I feel I could like set that up and like um what was and it'll just be like it could be like one of those arcs like I think similar happened in the Incredible Hulk where there's like this is what happens when the power like doesn't have the person like the responsible person behind it and like
Right.
kind of shows Sam like someone reasonable and like moral has to like accept this and obviously not going to be this guy so it has to be someone else.
Yeah. But with that, that wraps up this episode reviewing The Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 1. Let us know what you guys thought of the episode in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.